Hey, Job Drops here, where you can get news and views on jobs teachers don't tell you. And today we'll be covering graphic designers. Now, who are graphic designers? Graphic designers create visual concepts using computer software or by hand to communicate ideas that inspire, inform, and captivate consumers. They develop the overall layout and the production design for applications such as advertisements, brochures, magazines, and reports. So what is design? According to the AIGA design organization, the traditional role of design has been to improve the visual appearance and function of messages and information. The publishing industry relies on designers from printed and online books, magazines, and newspapers that inform, delight, and support the interests of readers. Designers distinguish businesses from their competitors in the marketplace through building innovative approaches to branding, the comprehensive design of messages, products, and services that express the character of a company and define its relationship with consumers. In all these practices, designers use typography, photographs, illustrations, and graphic elements to construct messages that attract attention, cause us to think about their meaning, and stay in our memories over time. Of course, this also relates to things like web design and mobile app design because, of course, those apps don't just come about in thin air. They have to be planned, and a lot of times a graphic designer, the layout of the design. Some other companies maybe don't really use this, but the bigger companies such as Facebook do use a lot of graphic designers, or they might be known also as UX designers. I also have a video about UX design. I will leave the link in the top corner or in the description. Some areas of design practice are more specialized. Motion graphics, for example, add sound and movement to the visual toolkit of designers and are viewed on television on computer screens, film, or in environmental installations such as technology walls and stadiums. So those fancy designs you might see in the stadium, like for different ads, especially during the Super Bowl time. Everyone's talking about it, and you see these graphics come up for team plays or for companies that support baseball teams. That also covers motion graphic design, and I will cover this later on in a future video. What do you need to know as a graphic designer? So you're looking for a career option, you've got a good eye for form and color, or maybe you just love fonts a little more than natural, especially for the lowercase g's. This might be design and you're in the right place. Graphic designers in people's minds often get lumped together with fine artists, when the truth is that we're almost opposites. Artists create to inspire, to emote, to share something that's uniquely theirs in the world, and the best art lets each viewer find their own interpretations. Designers, on the other hand, create to communicate. We're visual thinking problem solvers, and if people are interpreting our message in their own unique ways, well, then we're just not very good at jobs. Because one should be thinking in a similar fashion to grasp the message. So if the message isn't conveying the same thing or almost the same thing to everyone, then the design probably has failed. So let's start with some things of the do's and don'ts to become a graphic designer. First, you don't need to be great at drawing. As a designer, your ideas aren't necessarily limited by your skill set. You'll find yourself collaborating with artists, animators, and other breeds of creative folk on many of your projects. Don't get me wrong, if you can draw, that's great, but it's not essential. It does help to be willing to work out your solutions visually by scribbling in a notebook or mind mapping on a large sheet of paper. But you don't need artistic talent to scribble down roughs and jot down ideas. Next misnomer: you don't need a postgraduate degree or even an undergraduate. That's not to say that you shouldn't do one. In fact, if you're just finishing school and starting out fresh, a design degree will let you meet and work with lots of others who are doing the same thing. You'll be given opportunities to meet and to listen to great designers and creative folk. However, a huge number of fantastic designers never went to design school and just learned their trade as they went along by reading design books, working with more experienced graphic designers, and most importantly, working in the field. So, and said to be really good at graphic design, you need to practice, practice, practice. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars on fancy computer before you even start out. And it says that a lot of mid-range computers, as long as it's got a reasonable amount of RAM. I worked for a year and a half on an office computer which had under 1 gig of RAM, although that wasn't exactly optimal. And of course, Photoshop, this is the Holy Trinity: Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign. You typically need to know in order to get good at to be a graphic designer. You don't have to, but those are usually, that's what they call this industry standard. So it's good if you actually learn those tools, and if you can get a computer that's at least, I'd say, 2 GB RAM or 4 GB RAM, you're good for most graphic design projects. You do need a portfolio. What people want to know when they hire you is this: can you do the job? There's only one way to find out, and that is through your portfolio. Portfolios used to be huge overflowing ledgers or binders, but fortunately we live in the digital age and you can just make yourself a website, post someone a CD, or email them work samples. Your portfolio is what is going to get you hired, whether it's at a design agency or at a freelance job, so it needs to be a priority. So just create designs, create them and just add them to your local computer, or if you can back them up to like Google Drive or to Dropbox, and just make sure you save the link. When you're sending it to companies, they can view your portfolio. So what does the salary of a graphic designer makes? On average, they make about $48,561 per year on average, and of course the higher end can make up to 69. This is when you probably get more experience, as well as probably also specializing in one particular area. One such is UX design, which is a very much in demand field right now as of 2019 and is expected to have a large growth. Please check out my video on UX UI design for more information on that. Of course, we have freelance graphic designer at 50K, motion graphics designer at 63. So of course, motion graphics is a specialization of a graphic designer, which adds sound and motion to the art. So an important skill, I'll just be briefly going over it. So you need to build your own style. Each style is a signature of a graphic designer. Your design is aimed at a particular customer. Your style will leave them with a certain impression. 2. Have compatibility of project management. Designers are still hesitant about whether to become a staff designer for an office or become an independent designer. A designer who has the ability to manage his project is better than someone who just stays in one place and needs someone else to tell him what to do. So have the compatibility of typography design. It's especially for many areas, including advertising. The advertising industry requires graphic designers to understand communication and media, so they need you to design clear, easy to read, note please, interesting and impressive fonts. Font design is an indispensable skill for graphic designers. Well-designed typography will be a big plus for your portfolio because typography is considered to be the language of graphic design. And you also need to color theory, color principles. Graphic designers also need to understand and use principles to create contrast, blend, color change to create harmony. And last but not least, layout optimization. That's how you lay out the elements in a text page in a clear and logical way. If your design is presented on a real product, the element must be arranged so that the customers choose the product without any hesitation. What courses do you need to teach yourself? Well, first off, YouTube. YouTube is a great place for graphic design. Udemy also. And they have this one I recommend, the Graphic Design Bootcamp. It says project-based learning for beginners. You can learn in Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign, which are the big three in graphic design. This is a very good course for it. So you can learn the Graphic Design Bootcamp, and it's taught by Derek Mitchell, a designer himself. You get to learn a series of skills, including making a poster, a typography poster, logos, which is another subfield in the logo design you can specialize in, and creating a magazine ads and brochures, business cards, and teach you how to get your portfolio onto a platform. Of course, if you don't have the money to spend on getting Photoshop, you can just simply, go on a certain torrent site to get it. But if you don't want to do any of that, you can simply use GIMP. It's actually a free program allowing you to do it. And this course, 27 GIMP projects, will allow you to become proficient in GIMP. So you can check this out if you have the money. It's on special right now, $11.99. Also another great class for the big three Adobe products. Graphic Design Masterclass by Lindsay Marsh, another good one. If you want to also learn Inkscape, which is a alternative to Illustrator, this course, Design Your Ultimate 2D Game Characters, is a great one. It's highest rated, so check it out. Also, Design the Best Advertisement Material from Scratch. This one, I believe, uses Inkscape, and it's also very highly rated. So if you want to use the free programs, of course, you can check them out. I'll link these courses in the description down below. And Creative Logo Design with Inkscape for free. So this also allows you to learn logo design, but using the Inkscape software. Alright, so that's it for Job Drops. I hope you enjoy the content. Please like, share, and subscribe. And please click that bell notification for further updates. And I'll see you in the next video.